Today on episode 23 of the Be a Marketer podcast, you'll hear all about AI in the Constant Contact platform. And I'm sharing why you should be excited about the future of AI in marketing. This is the Be a Marketer podcast.
Be a Marketer.
My name is Dave Charest, Director of Small Business Success at Constant Contact. And I've been helping small business owners like you make sense of online marketing for over 16 years. You can be a marketer, and I'm here to help. Well, friend, thanks for joining me for another edition of the Be a Marketer podcast. As always, grateful to have you here. You know, you've likely heard the term artificial intelligence. After all, AI really is all the rage these days, and rightly so. I mean, the advances in this technology have been pretty impressive. But what is it exactly? Well, just to get super meta here, I asked ChatGPT, one of the leading AI platforms, to give me a definition. AI is the creation of computer systems that imitate human intelligence, enabling tasks like problem solving, learning, and decision making. AI also includes subfields like machine learning and natural language processing, or NLP. Now, don't worry, I also asked for definitions for those two items as well. Machine learning is where algorithms learn from data to improve performance or make predictions without explicit programming. And natural language processing is focused on enabling computers to understand, interpret, and generate human language effectively. Now, after hearing those definitions, maybe you're getting a little bit excited about how AI can help you process data and create content. I know this is what excites me about it. Now, do I know technically how this technology works? Well, absolutely not. But luckily for you, the team at Constant Contact does. And so if you struggle with the right words for social posts, emails, or texts, Constant Contact's new AI content generator is there to do the wordsmithing for you. You just tell it what you want to create, and in seconds, it'll give you options to build from or to use as is. And the AI analyzes hundreds of gigabytes of data and is always learning to provide you with better content. And today, I am excited for you to hear more about what's in store for you as a Constant Contact customer. Well, friend, today's guest, Russ Morton, is the Chief Product Officer at Constant Contact. Now, Russ and I sat down face to face to talk about AI and what it means for small business marketers. That's right, this is the first episode of the Be a Marketer podcast recorded in person. It only took 23 episodes. Well, Russ shares how AI in Constant Contact helps small business marketers like you save time by solving the blank page problem. Now, the best part, we're only scratching the surface of what's possible in the future. So pay close attention to the conversation around AI as an assistant and coach. Exciting times, my friend, exciting times. Let's go to Russ as he describes his role at Constant Contact.
The Chief Product Officer role really it's a privilege to be serving in that capacity here at Constant Contact. I get every day to talk to our customers, every day to talk to our innovation team across engineers, product managers, user experience professionals, and we constantly ask ourselves, how can we innovate to make the customer's life better, faster, stronger? And, we really are getting behind this product mission of not only helping the small stand tall, which is what is in our DNA at Constant Contact, but helping the small organization succeed in their mission based on the quality of their product or service, not based on the sophistication level that they are as marketers. That's our job. That's our mission. We want you to succeed or fail as a small business based on how good your bread tastes, or based on how good your product is you're selling in an e-commerce store, or how great and worthwhile your nonprofit is. That's the privilege that we have, is to try to make your job easier from a marketing standpoint.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's one of the amazing things. And I've been around here for, I guess, going on 12 years now, right? And so that's one of the things that's always been exciting about just working here is the passion that everybody has for the small business. I'm wondering, do you have any connections to small businesses?
I do. So on my wife's side of the family, our Chicago brethren we have a number of Greek restaurants. So my brother-in-law he is a restaurateur. He's got a number of locations all over Chicago. And I recognize from watching him operate the challenges and the fun and the hours, certainly the hours. And then some of our best friends here in Boston. I feel like I'm bragging, but I have a connection to Mike's Pastry via some of our best friends who are the family that owns and operates Mike's Pastry, which is the perhaps most famous pastry shop certainly in all of Boston, maybe greater New England, and maybe I'll go so bold as to say the entire Eastern Seaboard. So again, just watching those really, really amazing, talented people do what they do every day has just brought the mission of small business close to my heart.
Yeah. So, we're here to talk about AI today, and maybe we'll get into some automation stuff as well. And obviously, there's been a ton of talk right now, probably thanks to ChatGPT and now the generative AI kind of things that are out there now and the advances and that type of thing. But maybe we start with just in general, like, what is AI?
Yeah, so certainly the most topical AI thing that's going on right now are these so-called large language models, right? And that's pretty new in the last, call it year or so. That's been a really big breakthrough. Certainly in the public consciousness, it's been a really big breakthrough with the Chat GPTs and the Google Bards. And, there's probably a half dozen labs in the world spending billions of dollars needed to train these large language models that are delivering sort of conversation-like experiences to us as consumers. But more broadly, AI is a bigger umbrella category than that. Any type of machine learning optimization, we've been doing things at Constant Contact for a number of years, even before these large language models, things like send time optimization, things like A/B testing, things like email line suggestions. So if you're a technologist, as I try to be, you've been had your finger on the AI space. I mean, gosh, even as an undergraduate, 20 plus years ago, I recall AI classes being taught and trying to get machines to do things that, without humans, right? Facial recognition is AI. We've had that on our iPhone for the last, gosh, I can't even remember, 5 years or so. And we take this seriously. So at Constant Contact, we think about generative AI, these large language models. That's a core part of what we do. But optimization, using AI technology to help you find the right audience for the right message and optimizing return on investment, all of these things are front and center for what we do.
So I think it's curious, right? I mean, obviously we're talking a lot about this generative stuff before, but I mean, even before that stuff came out, Constant Contact's really been dabbling in AI, as you mentioned. And in particular, I think one of the things that's interesting is kind of behind the scenes, right? Like you might not even think of as a customer, but it actually helps with making sure your emails get delivered, right? And so when we're talking about deliverability, can you talk a little bit some of the work we've been doing there?
Yeah, we call it our Spaminator technology. And of course, we're sending a voluminous amount of email every day on behalf of our customers so that they can get their message to their audience. And certainly your message doesn't get to your audience if it gets filtered out from the inbox. And part of what we do is our Spaminator technology helps prevent the folks who are trying to use our platform in a weaponized fashion from doing that, so that all of our upstanding customers don't get blocked from inboxes, so that our ratings stay high. And what does that require that we do? It requires that we implement some pretty sophisticated spam detection to make sure that we're not mixing in the bad with the good. And so that certainly was a really big step that we took a couple years back, put that into the market, and it has allowed us to boast in a respectful fashion, but in a sort of East Coast boastful, respectful fashion that we do have the highest deliverability in the industry, and we do believe that's a critical part of what our customers ask for from us.
Now, when we start thinking about the generative aspect of AI, right? What are we talking about there, and how, like, what's different about that?
Well, if you think about what's one unique attribute of our company is we've been in business for 20 plus years, and we've sent a lot of emails. We've got a record of which emails are engaged with most. And what we've also got is through that historical data set, through some interesting technology we've built, and through some of these technology breakthroughs that we mentioned with these large language models, is an ability to train our data set and to use this generative AI to help you solve that white sheet of paper problem. As a small business owner who doesn't have time, there's always a gap between how often you should send and how often you do communicate or with your audience. You ask any small business owner, how often do you talk to your customers? And they say, not as often as I should. And the question is why? Well, there's not enough hours in the day. And certainly, kind of having a tool in our toolkit that reduces the gap between how often you should talk to your audience and how often you do. Yeah, that's what we're trying to go do. And we've trained it to where with just a little bit of seed, hey, I want to send a message about an interesting, promotion or an event that I'm hosting, or I want to send a newsletter, or I want to send a product announcement. We have trained our AI such that if you tag that, you give us, a couple of sentences of what you're trying to go do. It doesn't even need to be in plain English. It can be in sort of the modern text English that all of the kids today have, I think, is their native language. And we'll come back with you with a really well crafted email. Again, we are the experts, of course, in this, that has a catchy subject line, has a greeting, has a snappy call to action, really quick skim value, and gets your message to people's eyes and ears. That's really what we're doing. And we're doing that not only on email, we're doing it on our SMS platform. And again, we're trying to make the guesswork out of it. And not only are we going to save you time, but if we're doing our job right, and the early results seem to indicate that we are, the engagement that you're going to get with your audience from that AI generated content is going to go up. We're giving you the opportunity to play around with your tone. We're giving you the opportunity to be playful or enthusiastic or informative, energetic, those types of things. And, basically, if you've used our platform, but a week has gone by, you should come back in and use it again if you're a customer, because we've probably shipped some features, because this is a really, really dynamic environment. And Dave, I think we've got to the confession part of the audience. When you asked earlier, my relationship to small business, I fear that I should have mentioned my wife. My wife, she has a medical practice. And of course, one of the things that they're trying to go do, and they're a Constant Contact customer as well, is engage with, their patients so that their patients stay informed. And they have, she was talking to me the other day about just the ability to just take out that white sheet of paper problem for people who have just so many other things going. So, all right, I got that out of the way.
Okay. So, you mentioned a couple of things that I'm sure the people that are a little bit more tech conscious, right, are probably interested in understanding, because obviously we've heard a lot about ChatGPT and all of that. And I guess the question would be, how does what Constant Contact is offering differ from ChatGPT?
Yeah, so ChatGPT, you can think about that as, maybe I'll call it a sandbox, parlor game kind of thing, where you want to have a quick interaction. You can almost think about it as a little bit of a way that we use Google, but evolved, right? Google is, if you want to try to find and settle a bet with a bunch of friends at a bar, who hit the most home runs in 1971. Certainly that was the Google bit. If ChatGPT was much more, having a conversation as opposed to just a quick lookup. But still, that's kind of something that's interesting to play with. What we're doing is directly taking some of that core underlying tech, and we're applying it to a business problem, which is, how do we help small business owners succeed, or on their business, on the quality of their product, not on how good they are at describing their product. And, we're not trying to ask people to write their own jingles like, hey, we're here for you. And so, yes, we're leveraging some of these large language models. We know what people are doing, what a great call to action is, and we're training it on some of our data set. Now, it's anonymized, of course. We're extremely careful from a privacy standpoint that, we want to make sure, and I guess I'll mention one more thing about human in the loop. So this isn't a situation where you're giving a command and then the AI is off talking to your audience without your knowledge of what we're doing. You as the user, you have final say over everything. We're going to propose a number of things. You're actually going to train it. We're going to give you the opportunity to hit thumbs up, thumbs down. Like, is this your voice? And we're going to learn your voice. So those are the types of things. And of course, again, none of the, unique identifying information or anything is leaving our walled garden. So I really think that our innovation team has taken a really thoughtful approach to be both innovative and cutting edge, but also prudent, which again is unique to the culture we're building here at Constant Contact.
Yeah, one of the things that, and I think we've had this discussion before, but one of the things that I think is really interesting about just what we're doing, and from a comparison to like the ChatGPT thing. So I know we're kind of building on some of that technology that ChatGPT offers. When you start thinking about, if you're going to ChatGPT proper, for example, one of the things, or one of the problems that kind of introduces, is that how you prompt it really kind of determines like what you get out of it, right? And so oftentimes it's like you're only as good as your prompt is, right? And I know I find myself going like, well, what do I tell? Like,
it's solving a slightly different white sheet of paper.
Right,
problem.
right. And now it's like, oh, the white sheet is off now. Like, what do I say to this thing, right?
Well, what's interesting is there is an entire class of jobs that have been created called prompt engineering. And we have a number of folks internal to Constant Contact who are doing the hardcore AI and software engineering work to make the prompting much more robust to, like I said, that sort of broken text-based English that we all use when we text our friends, and producing engaging content out of it. So, prompt engineering, that we talk about the potential risks of AI as a society, right? Of certainly the self-driving cars is one, and various job loss, but there's also a ton of job creation, and this idea of prompt engineering, and we certainly have folks internal here to solve that problem. Again, to make it even easier for you to find your voice.
Well, so that's what was going to be my point, right? Is that because all that you need to do, like our customer needs to do, I should say, is put in a few keywords, like tell us what it is that you want to talk about. And then we're taking care of that kind of prompting part,
Absolutely.
Right? Where it just makes that process a whole lot easier, which is what I really actually love about it. And to your point, you have the ability to then look at what has been created, make edits, or say, no, that doesn't really match what I want to do. And so it learns over time. So, which leads me to, I guess, another question that I'm sure people are curious to understand would be, is the AI that you're using in Constant Contact, for example, is it learning across the whole Constant Contact platform, or is it learning specifically to like a specific customer's account?
Both is the answer, right? So, certainly we know in general what makes a engaging piece of email or SMS content, social posts, for example. And so it's a little bit like the onion, right? Peeling back layers of the onion. So you're going to train a large language model. You're going to train our data set on what is engaging content. Then we're going to, based on if you've told us your industry, we're going to know within your industry what is the appropriate or way to go there. And then certainly within your own voice, you can, up and down, sort of like, you think YouTube knows which various embarrassing videos you like to watch on and feeds you more of those. And so, I think we're trying to think about it on all of those different levels and using our AI. And then not just, a message is unique to an audience, right? So let's say you've got 10,000, 20,000 contacts that you engage with. Well, we know that you generally, you might send a newsletter to your entire 20,000 contacts, but you may send one audience to people who are doing your mail order, one group of people who are coming into your store. And so that's another thing that we're doing is say, hey, send this message to this audience. These are the people who buy on promo, for example. Let's go ahead and let's call them cost conscious. Let's go send, your most engaged customers, the people who open every email. Let's send a different communication. So if you think about pairing a message with an audience and a time of day, and a modality, email, text, social, that's when you can really start honing your voice to, again, let us do it for you. We'll help you hone, your storytelling, really, because that's what marketing is storytelling and engaging your audience with your message, with who you are and what your product or your service or your organization's doing. So all of those things come into play, and you're going to continue to see innovation from us across all of those dimensions.
Yeah. So I want to get into that a little bit more, but before I jump into it, real quick question, just does Constant Contact AI, does it generate in other languages?
So we've got a couple of things cooking under the covers there. Right now, we've got English, but stay tuned.
All right, cool, good. Because I know people will be curious about that. So, some of the things that you're mentioning are the things that, yes, the generative piece is interesting, but as somebody that has been a marketer, that is a creator, right? I like it more for the reductive things. So meaning like, here, I created this thing, like help me write summarize it or do something like that, like an assistant almost, Absolutely. Right? Versus the actual creation. But what I do think is interesting is when you start getting into those data pieces that you were talking about, right? When you're thinking about time of day or you're thinking about particular audiences, where do you see kind of that developing just in terms of when you start marrying kind of the AI with like automation, for example, and Absolutely. Even machine learning, like, what does that start to open up for people?
Yeah, I think about that assistant one is a good one. And there's really two different models of an assistant. We'll call it like the assistant who's your coach, and we'll call it your assistant who's, maybe your helper, right? So your coach is maybe saying, hey, people in your industry do this, every month. How about I've went ahead and I went ahead and created this content for you. I went ahead and created this engagement series, this automation for your most engaged or least engaged customers, your e-commerce customers. I went ahead and did that. Can I send it for you? And yeah, you get to look at it. You, again, human in the loop, you get to have the final say. But that's this idea of a coach. There's so many people who engage our marketing management services organization and who value that coaching. We're going to be bringing that coaching into the front and center of our product. Again, think about it this way. Hey, your most engaged email in the last, 12 months was this. We suggest that you do something like this again. And so we can do it based on industry benchmarking. We can do it based on your own personal success in your audience. And again, be that coach that says, you've never tried something new, right? You've never tried an event before. You've never tried this part of viral marketing. You've never done a buy one, get one before. Like, we can start being your coach. And then, let's think about the other side. I'll call the assistant as helper, which is, exactly what you want to go do. Think about it this way. I use the Amazon Alexa in my house for very simple vocal commands. Set a timer. What's the weather? Get me a recipe for this. Like, these very simple things that, let's say you're a real estate agent and you've got a new listing. Hey, create a listing, do this. And you can almost think about our AI as being your helper. And we then, hey, produce a beachfront property image for this email. I don't like that. Make it lighter. And you can be co-creating with that helper. And I think both of those things are going to be a really important part of our user experience and our engagement. And again, you'll start seeing even more of those things rolling out as we give you nudges in both dimensions.
Yeah. I love that because, oftentimes you start thinking about, even if let's say you're I often say a lot of times we talk to people that are, they're business owners first, they're marketers by necessity. And it's really about learning kind of like the basic things that you can do, but then building on those. And then oftentimes it's like, you don't know what the next steps are to get to, right? And so I love that idea of like a coach and like offering ideas and things that they can try next. But I also love what you mentioned about this idea of benchmarking, because, we often are letting people know that look, we can show you where things are. Like when you think of like open rates or click-through rates and all of those things, we have the data to show you here in your industry, this is what other constant contact customers are seeing. And I think that's always a good place where when you're just first starting, kind of give you a relationship of like kind of where you are. But then really what you want to try to do is then figure out what are your benchmarks and how do you beat those,
beat the average, right?
Yeah, and so that's where things really get, I think this is when you start to really like get into it and you really get fun about it, right?
Well, yeah, what's really funny, and I'll contrast our stereotypical small business owner. If you ask them, are you a great marketer? Almost everyone's, are you above or below average? Most people will say I'm below average, which is, by the way, the opposite of what most of us consumers do when we say, are you above or below average driver, right? Like, everyone thinks they're an above average driver. Yeah. Everyone thinks they're a below average marketer. And the truth is, we're going to make you great if you engage with our platform. And we're going to benchmark you when you start so you can see. And oftentimes it's immensely clarifying to users of our platform about what of their content gets the most engagement. That's immensely clarifying, just having that feedback loop. What gets click-throughs? What drives revenue? And then, okay, now I'm becoming up to average. How do I get better than average? Oh, like that's where the coach comes in. Hey, try this. You've never tried this before. And, those are all of the amazing visionary things that are really within our grasp.
Yeah. So I'm going to mention, and I'll add a link in the show notes for this too, because I think it's an important thing for people to do that sometimes people don't do, because it's really more for the customer's benefit than anything else, right? But it's really, make sure you fill out your profile within your account, because that allows us to then know what to feed you, right? What to give you, and help us make sure that we're getting the right things in front of you in order to use them and make more progress with your business. So I think that's important. So I'll make sure we include a link to that. So what's the vision for the future of AI in Constant Contact, I guess is the question.
Yeah, I think we need to continue to evolve those two coach models, right? The two assistant models, the coach and the helper. That's a big part of the vision. A big part of the vision is suggesting things to you so that saving you time. I think what you're going to see is even more holistic marketing automation, campaign suggestions across multiple modalities, helping you with, we have our Constant Contact Premium package now. We're helping small businesses with search engine optimization. We're helping them with their online ad strategy. So really there's no part of becoming a great marketer that we don't aspire to take off your shoulders as a small business owner. And you're going to see some interesting things from our event platform come out later this summer. And I could go on for an hour, again, I'll go back to the mission, right? You should succeed as an organization based on the quality of your product, not based on whether you stay up late at night reading books about how to be an expert marketer. That's the vision. Attract, engage, and grow. So, we're going to help you attract your audience and help you own and grow that list. Engage, right? Our platform is helping you engage with that audience at the right time with the right message and grow. Most people, it's growing revenue, of course, but if you're a nonprofit, it's growing donations. It might be growing your reach if you're a community or education organization. And so, you can think about attracting and owning that list and owning that audience, right? Engaging them and then growing in an optimized fashion and better, faster, stronger.
Yeah. Russ, anything else you wanted to add before we kind of close up here today?
No, just an immense amount of gratitude, both to our customers who give us the ability to do what we do every day. It's pretty inspiring anytime we get in front of a customer panel. I love your podcast, Dave, and hearing the customer stories, the hot sauce, which I went out and bought immediately.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, exactly. And then, sort of joke with my kids and secretly put a little bit of hot sauce on their sandwich. And, so it's just an immense amount of gratitude for our customers who allow us to do what we do every day.
Well, friend, let's recap some items from that discussion. AI is working behind the scenes to make sure your emails get delivered. Since 2019, the team at Constant Contact has been working to ensure your emails get to the inbox. With the help of AI, we can weed out any bad actors by detecting that malicious content before it gets sent out. Now, this improves deliverability for all customers and maintains our 97% best-in-class delivery rate. Secondly, create content that resonates with the click of a button. Just give us a few keywords and we'll give you options to build from or use as is. You can even choose the tone in which your content should be written. And you can do this for social posts, emails, and texts. And lastly, the future arrives in the blink of an AI. Now, moving forward, the vision is about how Constant Contact can use AI to provide you with a marketing assistant and coach, helping you get things done, giving you new ideas to try, and ultimately allowing you to get the right message to the right person at the right time through the right channel. Now, here's your action item for today. Aside, of course, from trying out the AI content generator, be sure to fill out your Constant Contact profile. The more details you provide, the better we can give you the right information within the product to help you. You'll find details on how to update your profile in the show notes. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Be a Marketer podcast. If you have questions or feedback, I'd love to hear from you. You can email me directly at dave.charest@constantcontact.com. If you did enjoy today's episode, please take a moment to leave us a review. Your honest feedback will help other small business marketers like yourself find the show. Well, friend, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and continued success to you and your business.